in a lot of our cultural belief that having a birthmark is linked to your past life or something that your ancestors did wrong. So it's kind of like a curse, right? And I guess my entire life I grew up with that belief that I am cursed, that something is wrong with me. And I kind of had to change that narrative and realize that my birthmark is actually my superpower, right? That if people are gonna stare at me, let them stare, but I'm gonna use it for something that's bigger than me. I'm gonna use it for something that can help other people. I thought, how powerful that might be, how it might possibly change my life and someone else's life, to see that, to understand and know that you're not alone in your struggles and your insecurities, to create a community. So that's really why I started True Complexion. For me, I believe that everyone deserves equal opportunities and access to education, employment, and affordable healthcare. And these are really the three main things that the community struggles with the most. And I hope that with more awareness, by collaborating with different brands, that we'll be able to create more opportunities for this, to create more representation, right? And to flip the narrative so that inclusivity and diversity in Malaysia does not just mean race and religion. Because right now I think, or gender, right? We talk a lot about gender inclusion, we talk a lot about racial inclusion or religious inclusion, but we forget that there's this whole other community out there who don't have a seat at the table, who are not seen and heard. Like for example, because sometimes when I interview some of the individuals, their parents are there as well, and I have a lot of parents telling me that if their kid is in a wheelchair ever since they're young, sometimes they have to fight to get their children into public schools. And when their kids are in public schools, accessibility is a problem. Everything is high staircases. So a lot of the mothers, they actually have to, there's no teacher aid. And a lot of times the mothers actually have to leave their jobs just to stay in school, to transfer their kid from one class to another, which is really heartbreaking and something that a mother shouldn't have to do, especially when medical bills are high and you could really use a double income household. So True Complexion started out as a social awareness platform on social media, but last year we actually diverted and brought the platform offline, and we started a festival called Alive Festival, where we got the communities to highlight their stories, and we use it as a fundraising platform for medical conditions, people living with them. I think one of the most memorable story was actually a lady called Jean, whom I interviewed in 2015. She was a breast cancer patient, and she was telling me how, she found out that she had a lump when she was pregnant with a second child. And a week after she gave birth, she had to get a mastectomy. And she was just telling me how, her baby was just a week old, right? And as a mom, all she wanted to do was hold her baby, to breastfeed her baby. But she couldn't even do that because she was just 2 weeks. She was on chemo. And I think for me that was like so powerful and so heartbreaking, right? And she was saying that, she had 2 kids, and she was saying, my biggest dream is not to make a lot of money, not to be successful, all of these things, right? My biggest dream is just to see my children grow up. Very, very simple. A thing that I think a lot of people take granted for. And unfortunately, like a year after I sat down and interviewed her, she passed away. Yeah, because the cancer spread to her liver and her lungs as well. And for me, that was a really, really hard thing. It really affected me. And I think with True Complexion, because we're touching about all these different diseases, right? Losing people is a part of the process, I guess. Yeah, and it's never easy, and you never get used to it. But I guess that's life.